Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. And these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. And when Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. If you understand the setting here, you would have to also be familiar with the fact that those who were devout Jews who practiced Judaism had to make a pilgrimage, spiritual pilgrimage, at least 3 times a year to Jerusalem. And one of those would be the Feast of Weeks, and another the Feast of Booths, and then the Feast of Passover. And so this was the time of convocation where they would come together for church. So this man now is literally, in layman's terms, at church. By his own confession, he had been in this place for quite some time, had experienced probably encounters such as this over and over again, but had no idea that this would be the last time he would be in the condition that he's presently in. Prophesy to your neighbor, and while we're sitting at the John 3:16 church in the 16th year, and since 16 happens to mean love in biblical numerics, that's prophetic. And say, neighbor, this is the last time I come to church like this. I find somebody else and say, neighbor, this is the last time I'm coming to church. Prophesy to them and say, I prophesy to you. Say, this is your last time coming to church like this. Father, help me preach this under your power. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. This is my last time coming to church like this. It was Booker T. Washington, former educator, political leader, and president of Tuskegee University, that said, men may make laws to hinder and fetter the ballot, but men cannot make laws that will bind or retard the growth of manhood. He said, we went into slavery a piece of property, but we came out as American citizens. We went into slavery as pagans, but we came out as Christians. We went into slavery without a language, but came out speaking the proud Anglo-Saxon tongue. He said, finally, we went into slavery with the chains clinking about our wrist, but we came out with the American ballot inside of our hands. Although the quote now that Booker T. Washington uttered from his mouth clearly characterizes the progressive plight of the so-called African American in America, what Booker T. Washington further intimates to you and I is that deeply embedded within all of mankind is the progressive power to persevere and to ultimately and eventually overcome any particular obstacle that's placed in our path. However, overcoming is not easy as said and done. It's something that's performed overnight sometimes, but many times it's a process that happens over an extended period of time. It's a process that comes through being perfected and tried many times in the fire, having to go through dilemmas, but yet maintaining drive and desire at the same time. And then finally, after maintaining drive and desire, you've got to have something down on the inside that creates the type of craving that simply says, I dare to be different. And I pull to the side of the road and put the car in park and step out and have a conversation and tell you, if you're going to be different in the society in which we live in the 21st century, then you've got to be ready to be talked about and criticized and ostracized. Sometimes having people lie on you for no valid reason at all, because we live in a time where people want you to conform to the status quo.